Alright, everyone, welcome to episode number 67 of Everyday Thoughts, and let's get straight into it. So, one thing I found out or I thought about yesterday while I was running, after I had an absolute maniacal fucking gym session before that just fried my nervous system, I decided to run 10 kilometers again. And while doing that, I decided, okay, I'm not going to look at the distance I ran. The only thing I might consider looking at is the time that has passed. And so what I did was to make that time pass faster, since I didn't listen to any music or had headphones in either. I just started counting my breaths. And while doing that, I started off with counting up to 1,000 breaths. And I was like, okay, 20 minutes is over. 25 minutes is over. Even more. It was like, I think it was 40 minutes at the end of the 1,000 breaths. Anyway, doesn't matter. Once I've reached those 1,000 breaths, that was like my big goal. All of a sudden, I was like, wait, fuck. It's still not over. Like, I'm not done with the run. How am I supposed to keep going? I don't have nothing that pushes me. I was like, okay, I can keep on counting breaths until I am at 1,100, 1,200, whatever. And what I found out is that, first of all, that is an extremely good way of just keeping on going, because you're focused on your breath, and the running just feels like a motion at that point, and you're in runner's flow and whatever. But that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm just trying to say is that once you have achieved the finish line, how far can you go when there is no finish line anymore? And that's the thing I found so extremely interesting, because once I reached 1,500 breaths, which for me was the sort of end goal, it was like, okay, 1,500 breaths, I gotta be at 10 kilometers. And while figuring out that I wasn't at 10 kilometers, I was like, fuck, how am I supposed to keep on running now? And then it didn't really click. I just kept on going and going and going, and my mind kind of turned off. And then I figure out, wait, I'm at 10 kilometers. Okay, fuck it. Let's do at least 100 meters more. I did that. I was done, and it felt absolutely fucking amazing. And the reason I think it felt amazing is because when I finished those 1,500 breaths, I was like, I think at 9 kilometers. So I still want to go. And I finished at 1 kilometer, and I still kept going beyond the goal. I could have gone probably even more, but that was just my overall goal. And then the thought just came into mind that if the part of how far you can actually push yourself, or how far you can go when there is no finish line, if that isn't the biggest phase of growth, maybe. I haven't been in that phase for that often, to be fair, but the times I have been, I can very vividly remember, and I'd say, looking back on them, it was absolutely amazing that I just followed through. And yeah, so I think everyone should try at least once to go, just keep going for as long as you can, even if you don't know when it's going to end. And then the second thing, which kind of ties into it, which is basically quitting is easy almost always. I mean, basically always. But what is extremely hard, but so insanely rewarding, is just every day, or not every, most likely every day, you shouldn't really take off any days overall. This doesn't mean that, for example, when you're training, obviously you need rest days, but that doesn't mean that you take a day off, since you can still do different things. Even if you do less, you still do them. And what I mean by this is just overall that the amount of effort you put in, like you can, for example, the run yesterday, I absolutely put almost everything into it. After a session, I put almost everything into it, or probably not everything, 40% rule from Goggins, whatever. But is to illustrate that it's so important to keep going, even at your hardest, even if you don't see results. And that's exactly that, going at your fullest without seeing a finish line. So that's why discipline is probably the most important thing. And that is basically it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you tomorrow. See you.